Hi everybody, it's nice to see you again. So here's my weekly reflection about what happened this week student teaching. And the main theme that I learned this week was some things are just out of my control. So out of my control as a person, as a teacher, and let me share with you some of those things. First, I still don't know how to connect to all of my students. I'm learning that they're from all different backgrounds, and I don't know all of their logistics, so I made a stroll down to the counselor's office this week, and I talked with the counselor there, and I was like, tell me the truth about X, 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 a million other X's with the students. Um, so she walked me through different students, and there's some students who are missing school all the time, and they tell me that they're sick, but there's some lack of consistency that makes me question. Now, if I'm questioning whether you're telling the truth or not, that some shady things or just strange things must be going on because I normally believe just about anything, which is both a blessing and a curse. So anyway, I started to question these students, and at first when they told me that they were really sick, I'm like, okay, great, I can adapt with you and we can make it work because the past few semesters at Penn State, something happened to me and I got knocked down pretty significantly. So I appreciated those teachers who were able to adapt with me because I knew that I was telling the truth. However, when the guidance officer or counselor told me that this is a reoccurring theme for these students year after year and that their parents might just happen to work in a counseling guidance position in a different school and know the system, that's why they're always at home because they can beat the system. That made me say, okay, these students are no longer excused from different activities or events for the remaining weeks of the semester. I don't want to go back on my word for what I already did, and I also don't want to go back and regrade things, but for throughout the rest of the semester, they will be held accountable for all of the assignments. Um, just because I'm not a fan of being taken advantage of. So that's one of the lessons learned. The other lesson that I learned was some things logistically are out of your control, which drove me crazy. This week, our roof leaked in our shop, and that scared me a little bit because I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I supposed to work in the shop with all of our ag mechanics kids? The first few weeks of class, we had to go over board feet and measuring and just work in the classroom that they didn't like, but was important. It was stepping stones to build up to working on the shop. And now that we're able to work in the shop is being flooded. What? That drove me crazy. So Mrs. Beer was like, it's okay, we can adapt. And I kept saying, it'll be better tomorrow, it'll be better tomorrow. And then when tomorrow came, the tarp was bigger and uh, a slight panic mode for myself, but we were able to adapt and use different parts of the shop and still effectively work. So that was good. I was really glad I didn't have to tell my mechanics kids, oh, sorry, look, I found this really cool assignment out of the textbook. Um, yeah, I don't think that would have gone over well. So we progressed and moved past that. The other thing that was out of our control or my control was I got really sick on Thursday morning. So thankfully Thursday and Friday were both snow days, but oh my goodness, I was so sick to my stomach and I just felt so under the weather and I wasn't able to do anything. I had this big long list of things that I wanted to get accomplished. I'm like, yes, I can plow through my noodles, I can do this, I can apply for the grant, and I switched from my bed to the couch throughout the entire day. I slept over 16 hours and I still felt exhausted. Friday, the only thing that I was able to eat was dry cereal and a banana. Pretty exciting. So I just felt so exhausted, and uh, even though I had such great plans, maybe that was some crazy way of telling me, Jenna, take it slow. It's okay to breathe. And uh, while I don't want to breathe at such a slow pace, I guess I have to adapt and be okay with it. So anyway, there's 2 days left of the weekend, so I'm gonna push through and see what happens and what I can get done. Hopefully I can compensate for what I didn't get done these past 2 days because I was ill. So we'll see. We'll make it work. But anyway, I'm learning to be adapting, or I'm learning to adapt to different things. I've also discovered that I'm improving as an educator. My lessons are better thought out, I believe. However, I have a goal for next week to be even more thought out. I want to provide more content into my lessons and follow a schedule. Like, this is when I'm transitioning. So 20 minutes of lecture, then we're doing this activity to help what we just talked about connect into your head. Then we'll do this, then we'll do this. And I want to have this structured rhythm in both my horticulture class and my large animal care class. The reason not for ag mechanics class is because we pretty much went over the content. Now we're doing interest approaches in the morning, but spending the majority of time in the shop. And the only other class that I'm teaching is a leadership class, and we're going over parliamentary procedure and preparing for banquet. So those classes are pretty self-sufficient. But while talking about that leadership class, let me share a highlight. One of the really exciting things this week was my student. She always sits at my desk. Always. And finally I went up to her and I said, "Bri, why don't you teach today?" So she looked at my lesson plan and she taught the lesson. That surprised me because, one, she doesn't like public speaking. Two, I just didn't think she'd be up for it. But she said she would, so I was like, okay. So I sat in the back of the class eating ice cream left over from National FFA Week and watched her teach, and I was able to chime in and help every once in a while. But she did great. The students were engaged and still listening and asking questions, and I just thought that was the neatest thing. I'm like, great, this is a leadership class. You're owning that leadership skill. And so that was pretty exciting for me. So overall, things are going well at Shippensburg. I can't believe that I've already taught every class for 4 weeks now, if you count the snow days that we've had. But that's very exciting to me. So just a few short weeks left, and that's crazy. And then I'll be graduating. So things are going well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your encouragement. I'll catch you next week. Bye.